I'm a beta. And I'd been assigned to share a dorm room with a top-tier alpha senior. During a joint departmental club event, everyone got completely wasted. Everyone except him. I was half asleep when I suddenly felt my body being lifted off the floor and gently placed on the couch. That familiar scent. It was his. The next thing I knew, he wrapped me in his arms, and something soft pressed against my lips. In that moment, something inside my head snapped. Was he actually harboring feelings for me? I panicked. The next day, I rushed to submit a dorm reassignment request. But as I returned to the room, anxious and unsure, I was met with his dark, stormy expression. Before I could react, he backed me into a corner, his broad frame completely boxing me in. Why are you changing rooms? Is it because I kissed you? He asked, voice low and tense. Welcome to History Channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures. Story begins. I don't know what you're talking about. I turned red in the face and tried to clear things up immediately. But he only leaned closer, gaze somber. Then why did you leave me behind and apply for a room change? I avoided his eyes, heart thudding. I'd already prepared an excuse for this. It's for group project convenience. That line was ranked top answer on a Q&A site. Flawless logic. No room for counterargument. Except he still tried to give me a way out. I can help you with that stuff, he offered, desperate. You don't have to switch. What? No way. I stared at him, wide-eyed in disbelief. If you did all my work for me, that'd be cheating. How am I supposed to actually learn anything? The second the words left my mouth, I realized how much I'd said and clapped a hand over my lips. He didn't say anything for a long time. I sneaked a glance his way and saw heartbreak. He looked exactly like a kicked puppy, eyes wounded and rimmed with confusion. My heart skipped a beat and then doubled down, pounding wildly in my chest. You're an S-class alpha. Why the hell are you putting on the pitiful lost puppy act? Afraid of what else he might say, something I couldn't possibly deal with, I shoved gently against him, head down, back straight. I'm tired. I should head to bed. You get some rest too, okay? I dropped the words like a hot potato, then bolted back to the bedroom and locked the door behind me. Thank God it was a 2-bedroom, 1-living dorm. I pressed an ear to the door. No footsteps. Sinking to the floor, back pressed against the cool wood, I exhaled, then inhaled again long and deep. He's an S-class alpha. One of the most popular figures at Solnik University. There are countless people who admire him, probably half the campus. I'm just a plain, ordinary beta. Sharing a dorm room with someone like that is already the luck of a lifetime. Sure, I've been tacked by his looks on the daily, but I never seriously thought about that. But now I realize he might be into non-traditional pairings. AB relationships aren't rare these days, yeah, but still. He's dazzling, magnetic. I'm average at best. It just doesn't add up. And from the way he lives, his clothes, his watch, the food he eats, his background's clearly top tier. Let's be real, his other half is probably supposed to be someone from the same world. Prestigious. Powerful. If this were a Cinderella story, even Cinderella's dad was a nobleman. Middle class. A dad who's a public servant, and a mom who runs a little shop. What kind of Cinderella is that? I almost laughed. Or cried. Helen Davis, what the hell is going on in that stupid brain of yours? Maybe he was just curious. Wanted something different for once. Rich people tend to have weird psychological kinks US common folk can't comprehend, right? Everyone around him is alpha. Maybe he just wanted to try dating a beta, get a taste of another kind of life. And I was just the beta who moved in next to him. Right time, right place. I mean, there weren't any actual feelings involved. So he figured, why not me? I was convenient. A discreet fling. No one would ever suspect a thing in a 2-person dorm. The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Because otherwise, why would he steal a kiss? Cold sweat prickled across my skin. I'm just a regular person. I don't want to get pulled into some messy, rich boy drama. And I definitely don't want to be someone's toy. There's still 2 months left in the semester. And for those 2 months, I have to keep my distance. Easier said than done. I started getting up early and leaving before he could catch me. For almost a month, it worked flawlessly. I thought I was in the clear. Too soon. He started predicting my predictions. Every morning now, I open the door, and there he is, breakfast in hand, smiling like nothing ever happened. He never mentions that night again. I sit with him, ignoring the awkward, lingering tension in the air. Eating in silence. And each time, I feel like a frog in slowly warming water. It's only a matter of time before it boils. So I stay on edge. But somehow, he always finds me. I've started to suspect he's bribed everyone around me. How else could he track me down so precisely, every time? I had no choice. I went full-on extreme mode. Others work 9 to 5? I do 5 to 9. Don't ask. I'm studying, okay? And when it comes to studying, even if he's the king of the world, he can't stop me. But tonight I was ready for a new move. A new form of resistance. I snuck over to the class rep's dorm room, hoping to crash there for the night. I hadn't even warmed the seat when the dorm advisor caught me. He insisted on walking me back himself. "What's wrong with your own dorm?" he asked, annoyed. "You've got a 2-bedroom to yourself. Why are you squeezing in here?" This advisor was a freshly graduated senior himself, and clearly loved gossip. He gave me a look like I was a spoiled brat who didn't know how good I had it. I looked back at him like I was suffering from terminal constipation. "Billy Smith said you two got along great. What happened?" I stammered, unable to answer. No way I could tell them that Billy Smith was probably a mental case, one who might be playing twisted emotional games with a beta like me. Who would believe that? "But he is really picky about some things," Chloe Melinda added, stroking her chin with a mysterious look. I perked up instantly. "Chloe, can you be more specific?" Maybe this was my chance. If I could find something that truly repulsed him, maybe he'd kick me out himself. Then I wouldn't have to keep living this life of dodging him at every turn, waking up at 5, hiding until 9. Our advisor looked like he'd had enough of this conversation. "He's got a major case of OCD." I stared, blinking. "What? OCD? Really?" "He freaks out when someone brushes against him. Has to go change clothes immediately. Looks calm on the surface, but he's actually extremely hard to approach. That's why he's lived alone for so long. When we had to double up rooms due to student overflow, we were all shocked that he agreed to take you in. Seriously, we thought he'd throw a fit. You've been living with him for a while now. You must know how high maintenance the guy is." I gave an awkward laugh. Because all I could think of was the time he downed the leftover steamed bun I couldn't finish just to avoid wasting food. And how, ever since he found out I liked eating, he's been offering me precisely portioned, freshly prepared meals every single day. He called it helping me eat better. And he did it with such ease, like it was no big deal. How could Helen not try everything when there's so much good food? "Don't worry, I'll finish the rest," he'd say with that gentle smile. Then he'd follow behind me like a content cat, eating whatever I left behind. Back then, I'd actually scolded myself for being wasteful. For having no manners. I didn't realize it was all bait. That he was slowly, deliberately reeling me in. I didn't even think to resist. If it weren't for the high moral standards instilled by my family growing up, I might have already fallen for it. Billy Smith was terrifying. Suddenly, the advisor glanced around like he was about to share state secrets. "You know," he whispered, elbowing me, "I actually know something else. Want to hear it?" From one roommate to another. Forget the pain in my ribs, I nodded wildly. His face lit up like he was telling a ghost story. No one knows what his pheromones smell like, but I do. I deflated. "That's it?" I waved him off. "I'm a beta. Why would I care about his pheromones? It's not like I can do anything with that." He raised an eyebrow. "Can't, huh?" Then he smirked. "That's funny. Because you're covered in his scent." I spat out my soda. "What do you mean?" I cried, brows furrowing with a creeping sense of doom. I sniffed myself from left to right. All I could smell was my body wash. But then something clicked. I locked eyes with the advisor, horrified. No, it couldn't be. Don't play dumb, he said with a cackle. You reek of Billy Smith's pheromones. I panicked. And no, wait, let me explain. All right, he waved me off dramatically, cutting me off mid-sentence. No need to play innocent. It's obvious you're really into him. He slapped my shoulder, grinning like a devil. Didn't expect you to be such a player. What? How did this turn into that kind of misunderstanding? My world was collapsing around me. Nothing I said now would make any difference. Tears of frustration welled in my eyes. There's still time. Chloe, I need to run to the supermarket. Everything had to go. Body wash, toothpaste, face wash, everything. Next morning, another luxurious breakfast spread. I pretended not to see it, made a dash for the door. Only to be intercepted halfway by him. My heart skipped a beat. Terrified he'd sniff something out, I instinctively covered my chest like some tragic heroine and tried to sidestep him toward the table. I sat down, determined to inhale my food and escape as quickly as possible. Until I saw the food. It was different today. Delicious looking. My resolve crumbled. I started drooling. Screw escape. I grabbed the chopsticks. As always, I only took one bite of each dish. Anything that didn't totally suit my taste, I habitually moved to the second plate he always set out, his. I was just about to drop it there when I remembered something. He's got OCD. My hand froze. And quietly I moved the piece back. I hadn't even raised it to my lips when a pair of chopsticks darted in and stole it from me. I froze. He didn't hesitate, he brought the bite to his mouth and ate it. Slowly. Deliberately. Chewed, savored, swallowed. Then wiped the corners of his mouth and gave me a smile so good-looking it should be illegal. So I'm really that delicious, huh? Look at my little snack monster, completely enchanted. There was a teasing glint in his eye, and his voice dripped with seductive heat. I flushed bright red. Grabbed the nearest scallion pancake and stuffed it into my mouth. Chew, chew, chew. Shut him up with carbs. Helen, he said gently, you've got something at the corner of your mouth? Huh. I blinked, swallowing the dry pancake. Before I could react, he leaned in. That familiar scent of tea leaves wafted over. I froze. Breath held. Eyes wide. He leaned even closer, brows suddenly knitting together. He sniffed. And then his entire expression darkened. You changed your body wash. He said it like a Judd. 5G pronouncing a sentence. He tilted my chin upward with 2 fingers, just enough pressure to make it impossible to look away. I gave you that bottle. It wasn't even halfway used. His eyes narrowed. His voice dropped. The weight of his presence filled the room like a storm cloud. You said you liked that scent. Why switch? Cornered, flustered, and ashamed, I bit my lip but said nothing. His tea-scented pheromones grew thicker, almost oppressive. Like a human-sized diffuser hovering over me, demanding to know why I'd abandoned him. The thought alone made my face ignite. I had once asked him, so casually, what brand of body wash he used, because it smelled really nice. He froze when I asked him, and for some reason, the tips of his ears turned red. I can bring you a bottle, he replied softly. But it might take a few days. I nodded excitedly. I really like that scent. He stared at me for a few seconds and suddenly said, I'm glad, Helen. I'm really glad you like it. A few days later, he handed me a full 500 milliliters bottle. I took it with both hands like it was a rare treasure, and threw my arms around him in thanks. He didn't respond, but his ears turned bright red again. Back then, I thought he was just shy and overwhelmed by my enthusiasm. But now I realize what was really going on. He had bottled the scent of his own pheromones, turned it into body wash just for me. The moment that realization hit, I nearly bit through my lip. After my shower, I couldn't resist. I walked barefoot out of the bathroom, hair damp, cheeks flushed from the heat. My robe clung loosely to my body, and I knew I looked a little dazed, a little too warm. I knocked on his door. He opened it in less than a second. It was clear he'd been standing behind it the whole time. Our eyes met. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. His gaze dropped to the robe's collarbone, then quickly snapped back up. I could feel his restraint crackling in the air. "Why did you change your body wash?" he asked, voice low and tight. I blinked. "It ran out." "You could have told me. I would have given you more." "Why should I?" I shot back, suddenly irritated. "You're not my keeper." His jaw clenched. "You know exactly why." "Do I?" I raised a brow, crossing my arms. "Because I don't. I'm a beta. Your pheromones don't affect me. That's what you wanted, isn't it?" For a moment, his expression turned stormy. "I never wanted that," he said hoarsely. "Then what do you want from me?" I demanded. He looked at me for a long, burning moment. "Oh," he said. "Just you." When he first heard it, he froze. For some reason, his ears turned bright red. But he still smiled gently and said he could bring me a bottle. It'd just take some time. I nodded so fast my neck almost snapped. I really love that scent. I'd wait as long as it took. "Is that so?" he murmured, voice low and alluring. His eyes darkened, unreadable. "Then I'm glad, Helen. I'm really glad you like it." A few days later, he handed me a 500 milliliters bottle of body wash. I clutched it like treasure, thanking him over and over. His ears turned so red they looked like they might start bleeding. Back then, I didn't think too much of it. I just thought he was shy from all my gushing compliments. Now I know better. That body wash, it wasn't just any fragrance. It was his scent. Extracted. Bottled. Given to me deliberately. He had already begun his little game long before I realized it. No wonder he kissed me without warning. The more I thought about it, the more my heart raced with panic. My lips trembled as I bit down, almost breaking the skin. He suddenly leaned closer, expression stiffening with concern. But instead of anger, he softened his voice and coaxed me gently. "Helen, even if it's you, you shouldn't bite there, okay? Be good. Let go." His fingertips brushed my lips with such delicate care that it sent shivers down my spine. A helpless whimper escaped before I could stop it. We both froze, startled by the sound. His gaze dropped, and in a flash, he pulled me into his arms. The world spun, and the next moment I was seated on his lap. His hand cupped the back of my head, gently guiding me forward, until I was face to face with him. "There's still some crumbs on your lips," he said with a devilish glint. "Wasting food's a shame, isn't it? Let me help you take care of it." "You're the shameless one." I wanted to protest. "Can't you see I'm just a beta?" But before the words could fully leave my lips, he smiled, tipped his chin up, and met me in a kiss. From possessive, unrelenting. Between breaths, I heard him murmur, voice hoarse with emotion, "It's always been you, Helen. You've always been the one in my eyes." My thoughts scattered. My resistance wavered. "No," I tried to speak. But the moment I opened my mouth, he swallowed my words whole. His kiss grew more urgent, more demanding, until I snapped back to reality with a gasp. I shoved him away, turned, and tried to escape. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't accept it. But he caught me again, one hand holding me in place, his breath brushing the back of my neck. "Why'd you change the body wash?" he whispered, voice low and heated. "Didn't you say you liked the one I gave you?" He leaned in close, almost like he was going to bite if I didn't answer. Trapped, trembling, I closed my eyes and nodded stiffly. There was no choice. His presence overwhelmed everything. I had nowhere to run. "Good," he whispered against my skin. "Let's switch it back now. I'll help you do it personally." Without giving me time to respond, he scooped me up and strode straight into the bathroom. The water heater clicked on with a beep. In just seconds, steam filled the room, and warm water rained down. He stripped me quickly, his movements confident but not forceful. Somehow, in the misty heat, I felt drunk on the scent of tea leaves, that familiar, calming fragrance that was uniquely his. I looked up, and there he was, his soaked white shirt clinging to his skin, defining every contour of his body. Water dripped from his collarbones, slid down, and disappeared into the folds of his clothes. He caught me staring, then chuckled, slow and low. "If Helen likes it, how about helping me out a little too? I'll give you a better look." My heart skipped a beat. I averted my eyes in a panic. What are you saying? I don't like it. But my throat betrayed me with a dry swallow. He was standing boldly now, shameless and unguarded, and my mind nearly short-circuited from the contact. The heat gathered and surged wildly, until something undeniably stirred within me. I stood frozen, mortified by the reaction I couldn't control. Helen! His eyes widened with joy. He pulled me into his arms with trembling delight. I knew it. I knew you didn't really hate me. I knew you felt something too. He pressed kiss after kiss along my face, my neck, full of uncontainable passion. I couldn't even fight back. I was too stunned to believe it. How could I, a nobody beta, possibly have feelings for someone like him? I wanted to deny it. To remind myself that I'd heard his friends say, his future partner would surely be a perfect omega from a powerful family. Not me. Never me. But the man in front of me was too real, too close. His words, his touch, his gaze, all whispered a truth I was afraid to believe. Even when logic screamed at me to push him away, my hands clung helplessly to his shoulders. Even when I wanted to resist, my body trembled under the weight of emotions I couldn't explain. And when I tried to silence myself, tried to shut it all down, it was already too late. The more I stared at that black and white textbook, the more those forbidden colors seemed to bleed through the page. How was I ever going to face that class, or that professor, again? 3 days before finals, he was finally leaving. I couldn't wait to see him gone. The man even stood guard outside the bathroom when I went. And when I came out, he wrapped his arms around my waist like nothing had happened and demanded a hug. Then came the clingy monologue about how long we'd be apart. He stuck to me like a piece of industrial-strength tape, refused to peel off any longer, and I was going to lose my mind. So I got up early and started pushing him to pack before he missed his flight. I was practically on fire with stress, and he wasn't even slightly concerned. Left with no choice, I rolled up my sleeves and started stuffing clothes into his suitcase myself. After one round of speed packing, I finally zipped the bag closed and clapped my hands in triumph, only to find him staring at me. He had this ridiculous smile on his face, clearly pleased. But in the next instant, his expression clouded with mock sorrow. Helen, you're really in such a rush to kick me out? I blinked, caught off guard. For a moment, I almost missed the way he used to call me husband. But honestly, Helen sounded more natural. The other word was way too intimate, especially for whatever this complicated mess between us was supposed to be. So I gave him the straight answer. Of course. It's impossible to focus on Stu. His brows shot up in amusement. Immediately, my brain conjured up those vague, unmentionable memories again. My cheeks burned. Studying, I snapped, glaring at him. I turned away, muttering under my breath. Always so clingy, honestly, it's exhausting. But the moment I let my guard down, he latched onto me again like he had all the time in the world. Then I remembered the flight schedule I'd looked up last night. My heart sank. If he missed this one, the next wouldn't be until evening. And knowing how he was, that left hours of potential distraction. I pushed him, and the suitcase, toward the front door, clenching my sore lower back with one hand and wobbly legs barely holding me up. Your career awaits, senior. Go pursue it. I reached for the door. But he stuck out one long leg and blocked it, half laughing. There are still a few hours left. What's the rush? He was pouting like a child who didn't want to leave. Some passers-by glanced our way, smothering giggles and whispering with knowing looks. Someone even waved and called out a greeting. I hid behind him, face in flames. I wanted to dig a hole and disappear on the spot. Seizing the opportunity, he slipped back inside and shut the door behind him, then pulled me into a surprise kiss. He was shameless. A full-on sneak attack. By the time I came back to my senses, I was lightheaded. He pressed his nose against the side of my neck, brushing the skin with feather-like pecks. Tingling chills rippled down my spine. You smell like me, he murmured. I wish I could take you with me, keep you by my side forever. His tone was serious. He wasn't joking. Panicking, I pushed back, trying to steady my heartbeat. I wasn't an object he could just carry around on a whim. Thankfully, he didn't go completely off the rails. But he did make me swear not to switch my body wash, threatening to miss his flight otherwise. So, cornered, I agreed. That night, as the water streamed down in the shower, my restless heart finally began to calm. But before long, my mind drifted again, to those blurry memories and hazy sensations. An odd emptiness crept in. Steam turned my cheeks red hot. And just before I reached the final release, I found myself whispering his name, Billy Smith. Afterward, I stared at the body wash bottle for a long time. Then I pumped it into my palm, lathered up, and let the scent cover every inch of me. He said he was single. I was single. What had been done couldn't be undone. Besides, living in the moment had always been one of my guiding principles. But just as I stepped out of the final exam hall, someone approached. He had the air of someone important, calm, elegant, perfectly put together. And he hit me with a verbal sledgehammer the moment he opened his mouth. Hello, Helen Davis. I'm the Omega engaged to Billy Smith. Do you have a moment? I'd like to talk. I stumbled back to the dorm, feeling like I was walking through water. Without a word, I packed everything I owned. Trains, planes, everything was sold out. All that was left was a hard seat on an overnight train. 8 hours. Quiet. Almost too quiet. I drifted in and out of sleep, uneasy and exhausted. When I woke up, I could still smell the faint trace of tea leaves on my skin. I clicked my tongue in irritation. After a quick wash-up, I glanced out the window. Almost home. Billy Smith's messages wouldn't stop. At first, I ignored them. I even hovered over the block button. But I remembered how many times he'd managed to track me down. With a sigh, I held back my temper and replied with short, perfunctory messages. Of course, he noticed. He sent me a picture of a sad puppy meme with the text. Feeling wrong.jpg. I'll be home really soon, Helen. Please don't be upset. Classic jerk behavior, making himself look like the victim. Seriously, you're just getting annoying now. Please stop contacting me. He thought I was upset over a bad exam score. And then, like a complete idiot, he started sending even spicier texts. As soon as I stepped off the train, his call came in. I hung up. He called again. Still no car in sight. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I answered. And without acknowledging his worried voice on the other end, I asked calmly, Billy Smith, was playing with me fun for you? He fell silent. But it didn't last long. He caught on quick. Helen, did someone say something to you? It's not what you think. I let out a laugh. Cold. Bitter. You're engaged. And yet you came after me. Why? Was it boredom from a life too easy? Or did you lose some kind of bet? One where you had to see if you could seduce the random beta who just happened to share your dorm? My fingers clenched tightly around the phone, voice shaking with fury. After all, a beta can't get pregnant. You don't need to take responsibility. And it doesn't interfere with your precious engagement or future children. Right? That Omega's words echoed in my mind, sharp and precise. I don't really care what Billy Smith did before marriage. These things happen, even after marriage, really. Still, I'd prefer it didn't happen at all. From what I understand, Mr. Davis, you're a beta, yes? Out of kindness, I felt I should speak up. Sure, betas can technically get pregnant, but the odds are less than 1 in 1,000. No baby. No responsibility. No obstacle to marriage. You seem intelligent enough to understand what I'm saying, don't you? I'd sat there, pale-faced, unable to meet his eyes. Every word felt like a blade against my skin. I couldn't say anything, because somehow I'd become the very kind of person I used to despise. The car I'd been waiting for finally arrived. I hung up, and I deleted every way Billy Smith could ever reach me. When I got home, I dumped all my clothes into the washing machine, every single thing that carried even a trace of that tea-scented pheromone. They needed to be sanitized. My phone buzzed nonstop. I blocked one number, and soon another popped up. Then another. Eventually, I yanked out the SIM card and tossed the phone aside. I pulled a set of old clothes from the closet and marched into the bathroom. Then I scrubbed myself from head to toe with my mom's rose-scented body wash, strong, floral, suffocating. Over and over again. But no matter how many times I washed, I still couldn't get rid of the scent I hated most. The tea fragrance clung to me like it was soaked into my bones. I furiously towel-dried my hair, only to catch sight of myself in the mirror. The marks on my body hadn't fully faded. The bite mark on the side of my neck stood out vividly. I froze. Lowering my head, I stood there in silence for what felt like forever. Cold droplets trailed down my back, and the chill seeped deep into my chest. My eyes stung. Then, outside, I heard the front door open. I snapped back to reality. My parents. "Helen, you're home already?" Mom called out cheerfully. "You should have told us earlier. I would have gone to the market for better groceries." Thankfully, they only chattered for a minute or two before heading back out. If they'd stuck around and seen me in that state, they would have demanded answers. And I wouldn't even know how to explain it. What was I supposed to say? That their son got played by a guy and was now wallowing in heartbreak? That the one who broke him was an alpha? They'd blow the roof off. I took a deep breath and tilted my head stubbornly, trying to force down the heat behind my eyes. But some things weren't as easy as sheer willpower. Just like how an alpha and omega could be helplessly drawn to each other through scent alone. The beta, like me, we were always just outsiders in their story. The tears prickled again, harsher this time, until I couldn't keep my eyes open. I splashed cold water on my face hard. "Helen Davis, pull yourself together. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't ask for this. You were seduced by that scumbag Billy Smith. This is all on him." Even if there hadn't been some secret fiancé, alpha-beta relationships never lasted. I needed to return to the life I'd planned from the start. Find a fellow beta who shared my interests. Have a sweet, simple campus romance. Graduate. Get a stable job. Get married. A quiet, healthy, happy life. That's what my parents had. What their parents had. That's the kind of life I wanted too. It was time to get back on track. The moment my body touched the comfort of my childhood bed, every nerve unraveled. When I opened my eyes again, it was already evening. Still groggy, I wandered out of my room. My mom called out from the kitchen with a bright smile, "Just in time. Your dad made your favorite, carbonara. Come sit." I thanked my dad and immediately helped myself to a bite. It was exactly the way I remembered. "Dad, your cooking's still the best." I gave 2 thumbs up. Double praise. They both laughed, delighted. As we ate and chatted, my mom's phone kept pinging with messages. She frowned. "Ugh, this neighborhood group chat again. What are they going on about now?" "Probably someone's pipes burst again," I guessed. Our building was decades old, renovated here and there, but never fully redone. Arguments about plumbing were practically a weekly tradition. No, they're not arguing. She enlarged a picture and passed it to my dad. "They're talking about this expensive car parked outside. Supposedly worth several million." A chill ran down my spine. "Your dad doesn't know cars, but you'll probably find this interesting, Helen. Look." She turned the phone toward me. "Apparently it's parked right outside our building," she added, scrolling further. "And the guy inside? The group says he's ridiculously handsome. Looks like a celebrity. Probably an alpha." My eyes locked on the screen. The face that filled it was all too familiar. So all my suspicions were right. That uncanny ability of his to always show up, no matter how well I hid. I'd thought someone might have leaked my whereabouts. But there were times I hadn't told anyone yet, and he still appeared. It had to be a tracker. He installed a tracker on me. Barely home for a few hours, and already he was outside. Unbelievable. I scoffed, lips curled coldly. Just look at him. Total sleazebag. Probably here to scam someone. My mom froze, finger hovering over the screen. She turned to me, frowning. "That's a weird reaction. Do you know him?" "Who, me? Know that creep? Just seeing his face ruins my appetite." I stuffed down my rice, cleared the dishes, and plopped onto the living room couch to watch TV. My parents exchanged a glance behind my back. Then quietly came to sit beside me, saying nothing more. 2 episodes of the drama had just ended when the gentle patter of rain began to fill the room. Before heading to bed, my mom glanced at her phone, then hurried over to the window and gasped. "Oh my God, why is that young man standing in the rain? Doesn't he know how to take shelter?" My dad grumbled from the couch, "Come on, leave it alone. He's not our responsibility. Don't go sticking your nose in things." I kept my mouth shut, fists clenched tight. Once they finally retreated to their bedroom, the sound of rain pounding against the steel awning outside grew louder and more aggressive. I couldn't take it anymore. Storming to the window, I yanked open the curtain and cursed Billy Smith under my breath. Our place was on the second floor, and this window faced the main road. His car was still parked outside, but I didn't see him. The streetlights in this aging neighborhood were dim, and the rain blurred everything. Worry crept in. On impulse, I pushed the window open and leaned out, and came face to face with him, those familiar, deep-set eyes glistening under the rain. Water streamed past the corners of his reddened eyes. I froze, then scowled, raising my hand to point toward the gate. "Get lost." He quickly shook his head, voice trembling as he stepped closer. "Helen, please listen. I swear it's only ever been you. I love only you. There is no engagement, no one else." He looked so pitiful, soaked to the bone, pleading like some tragic romance lead. Manipulative bastard. There was an umbrella in his car. He chose to stand there and get drenched. All to put on a show? Unbeknownst to either of us, someone had recorded the whole scene and posted it in the neighborhood group chat. The gossip train exploded. Dozens of people tagged my mom asking what was going on. "Helen Davis." I froze. Slowly, I turned around. My mom was standing at the doorway, phone in hand, playing the very video of me yelling at Billy in the rain. "I knew something was up when you came home early acting all weird. Now spill it. What exactly is going on between you and that alpha?" Never in my life did I expect my mom to be this easy to fool. Just because Billy Smith had a pretty face, she invited him inside without hesitation. Made me grab him a change of clothes. Pushed him toward the bathroom like it was the most normal thing ever. "Go take a hot shower, sweetheart. You'll catch a cold." Billy looked at me but didn't dare say a word. I shoved the clothes at him with a glare. "My mom says take a shower." His previously pitiful eyes immediately lit up. "Okay, I'll listen to Helen." Terrified my mom would corner me with more questions, I bolted back to my room. I didn't even notice the way she was elbowing my dad, mouthing, "See? Told you so." Half an hour later, they sat on the couch, arms crossed, scanning us like hawks. Their eyes finally settled on my neck. My stomach dropped. I tried to shrink my shoulders to hide the mark. My mom narrowed her eyes. "So, how long's this been going on? What's the status now?" Billy glanced at me and quickly replied, "I'm still pursuing Helen." I inhaled sharply, giving him a "don't you dare" look. "Helen Davis," my mom said sternly, "let Billy finish his sentence. No more of that melodramatic drama nonsense. No chasing, no miscommunication, no conveniently timed misunderstandings. If there's something to explain, explain it. Time's too precious to waste on soap opera antics." I was speechless. Because those were my own words, the exact complaints I'd made while watching dramas with her. Talk about karma. "Andy, you're right," Billy said softly. "This is all my fault. I assumed too much. Gave the wrong people an opening, and it led to a misunderstanding." He swore there was no engagement. That the Omega who approached me was a complete stranger. His uncle had gotten drunk and blabbed, that was all. Expressionless, I pulled up the photo I'd saved as insurance in case Billy ever tried to come near me again. He went pale, taking the phone from my hand and inspecting the image closely. My parents exchanged looks, their expressions cooling. "This picture was fabricated," Billy said calmly. I raised an eyebrow. "Oh really? Got proof?" He nodded, pulled out his phone, opened WeChat, and scrolled through someone's photo feed until he found it. "This is the original," he said. I leaned in. Same pose. Same angle. Except the two figures were clearly photoshopped to appear closer than they were. The composition didn't even line up. "And these?" I flipped to more photos. He tracked down each one. Every single image sourced back to a separate original. Every detail checked out. The heavy stone sitting in my chest finally lifted. My mom took both phones and compared them, mumbling to my dad, "If Billy didn't have such a good memory, that guy might have gotten away with it." Billy again. Why was she already calling him that? "But what I don't get," she continued, "is why the guy would even bother. A trick like this is bound to be exposed the moment you two talk." Billy paused, then said carefully, "Because the Smith family could have solved his family's financial issues. The guy probably assumed we'd never have a future. That Billy wasn't serious. But the moment I left, Billy chased after me. He came here for me. My heart trembled before I could stop it. Then my dad's voice snapped me out of it. You're an alpha, right? Our Helen's a beta." My dad sighed. "Your mom and we've sensed something deeper going on between you two." My face flushed. My neck felt ice cold. I was already exposed. I forced a weak laugh. "Nothing like that." My mom shot me a look. "We're not idiots. This isn't the Dark Ages. Helen's always been shy. If she wasn't willing, you wouldn't have gotten anywhere near her." Billy took the opportunity to brush his fingers against mine, his grin stretching nearly to his ears. If my parents hadn't been in the room, he probably would have launched himself at me. "We're respecting his choice," my dad added. I blinked at them, stunned. A sudden wave of heat burned behind my eyes. So they knew. They knew how I felt. But my mom's tone changed. "With your family status, you'll need an heir. Helen's a beta. That's not something we can offer." "You don't have to worry," Billy said firmly, locking eyes with me. "My older brother, who'd gone missing when we were kids, was just found. He's already been named as heir." I turned, startled. "You're not an only child?" He shook his head. "That's why I went home after finals. To deal with that." Then he began telling us the story of how his brother was taken, and how they finally found him again. Billy went on to explain more about his family, how things had changed since his brother returned. When he mentioned that his two fathers were planning to visit and apologize in person, I whipped my head around to stare at him. "What?" "But the misunderstandings cleared up now. They're super busy, right? No need to come all the way out here." But my mom, ever the warm host, was delighted at the thought of meeting real-life VIPs she'd only ever seen in the news. The morning of their arrival, she and my dad got up at the crack of dawn and went out to buy half the farmer's market. Our kitchen looked like a local feast hall by lunchtime. Billy, still wearing an apron, was busy with the final touches when the two fathers arrived, each holding extravagant gifts. My mom didn't flinch at their presence. She met their overwhelming aura head-on with a barrage of compliments that rolled right off her tongue. Even Billy, with all his usual shamelessness, looked like he might float off from how puffed up he was. After the meal, his fathers happily ordered him around while he cleaned the table. When I tried to help, they waved me away. The Omega father even sneakily snapped photos of his son cleaning dishes. "I've never seen Billy like this before. I need proof. This is going in the family archives." Then he pulled me in for a selfie, saying he'd send it to Billy's grandfather. As he pressed the shutter, he said something cryptic. "Helen Davis, you really are our family's lucky star." I blinked. What? This was not how I imagined meeting the parents would go. And then, somehow, the adults started talking about an engagement. I couldn't even get a word in. One back and forth led to another, and boom, plans were tentatively settled. I remembered what my mom had told me earlier that morning. "It's not like we have anything they'd want from us. If you two really like each other, and both sides don't object, what does it matter what outsiders think?" She must have noticed my nervousness. "You scared of meeting his parents?" I'd nodded awkwardly, and she'd looked at me like I'd grown two heads. "Scared of what?" "It's not that I'm scared, it's just, it all feels a little fast." She rolled her eyes. "Oh please. Your lips were already swollen this morning. You want to tell me things aren't moving fast enough?" I'd immediately clamped my mouth shut and covered my face. "Billy Smith, you bastard." He'd ambushed me with kisses first thing in the morning. What was I supposed to do? Fight back with a frying pan? "Don't stress," Mom said, a little softer. "They've got two eyes and one mouth, just like us. Nothing to be afraid of." Then, in a rare moment of seriousness, she added, "These days, everything's about leverage. We don't need anything from them, but if the opportunity's there, you better use it to grow your own skills. And if someday he messes up, you'll have enough power to walk away with your head held high." Was she seriously giving me exit strategy advice for a relationship that hadn't even officially begun? "And let's be honest," she teased. "You really want to give up a guy as handsome and outstanding as Billy?" She tapped my chest. "You're my kid. You think I don't know what you're thinking? I bet you've dreamed of having an alpha wife for years." "Billy Smith as a wife? I mean, yeah, actually, I kind of did want that." "Relax. If I step in, even if she's already..." My mom narrowed her eyes like she was prepping for battle. "I'll steal her for you." "I'm not sure we needed this much help, Mom." "Because come on. Who gets engaged the first time they meet the in-laws?" After Billy's parents left, my mom shoved us out the door. "Go show him around. Give him the full hometown tour." Before I could decide where to go, Billy grabbed my hand and confidently led me out the gate. And dropped a bomb on me. Our first meeting wasn't at school. I stopped dead. "No way. You've got that face." If I'd seen it before, there's no way I would have forgotten. He only smiled, cryptic. "You'll remember soon enough." We walked and walked. Eventually, the road curved toward a more rural path. I was just about to suggest we hit the nearby park instead, because there was no way a silver spoon guy like him had ever set foot in this small town, when he stopped. "This is it," he said gently. "This is where we first met." I stared. We were standing at the edge of the old bridge by the river. I don't remember it all. I used to come here when I was a kid, but after a few tragic drowning accidents, it had been fenced off. People said the place was haunted. Parents stopped letting kids play near it. Billy ruffled my hair. "Of course you don't remember. I was watching you in secret." "You what?" He looked off into the distance. "Back then, my dad got word that my missing brother might be here. The whole family rushed down, but it turned out to be a fake lead. The boy was my cousin's illegitimate son." I frowned. "Wait, that cousin? The one involved in your brother's disappearance?" He nodded, expression dark. "No one expected it. I couldn't handle it. I ran off, and that's when I met you." His expression softened, eyes far away like he was remembering something warm. What did I even do that made such a lasting impression? I almost fell into the river. You grabbed me without hesitation, didn't even look at me, and turned around to scold the kids behind you. You warned them never to play near the river again. I watched you from afar for a long time after that. I thought you were fascinating. As he spoke, a faint memory stirred. There had been a summer like that. A neighborhood kid had drowned, and I was so upset I'd started patrolling the area like a vigilante. If I saw older kids, I ran to get adults. If I saw younger ones, I scolded them and sent them home. Eventually, my parents banned me from coming here. They were afraid I'd get so emotional I'd jump in after someone. "So I saved your life, huh?" I joked. Then another puzzle piece clicked into place. "Wait, so you recognized me and arranged for us to be roommates?" He nodded solemnly. "You saved me. I had to repay you with my life." "Hey!" I frowned. "If I saved you, shouldn't I be the one on top?" Screw A, B stereotypes. Why couldn't we just flip it? He didn't miss a beat. "Sure. You can be on top next time." I perked up. "Seriously?" He leaned in, kissed me softly. "Seriously?" My stomach flipped. I suddenly wanted to get back home. Fast. "Come on. Let's go." "Ah. We need our IDs." He looked confused. I was laser-focused. "We're registering today. I'm not letting you escape again." "Not that kind of on top, you liar." Billy nuzzled against my lips, whispering sweetly, "Helen, I love you." His large hands cupped my waist with ease. "Helen, won't you move for me?" he murmured hoarsely, coaxing like he always did. "Just a little, it'll be over faster." I fell for it again. From day to night. He never let up. By the end, I was so worn out I bit him out of sheer rage. "Billy Smith, you lying bastard."
Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos.